A green and green sticker. Downstairs at the back of the boat there's toilets. We've also got a licensed bar downstairs if anyone would like a drink. Now on the way down river today we are going to pass some buildings of interest, some different landmarks and bridges. We don't have any professional tour guides. In the basement of County Hall you've got the London Aquarium, the London Dungeon, Shrek's Adventure and the Namco Centre. So for the young kids there's lots to keep them entertained here at County Hall. As we turn round, if you look in front of the boat on the left you'll see the building with the 4 green roof sections. That is the Ministry of Defence building. That is the head office of the Army, the Navy and the Royal Air Force. Follow the river wall along and you'll see a white column with a golden eagle. That is the Royal Air Force War Memorial. It commemorates the men, the women and all the allies. They gave their lives in the First and the Second World War. Here to our right we have the London Eye. The wheel is 450 feet tall. There's 32 pods or carriages. There's 25 people in every pod. You have to get on and get off as the wheel is moving, and at the very top of the London Eye on a clear day you can see about 35 miles over London. It's now carried over 65 million people. It's the most visited tourist attraction in London. There's a floating pub on our left hand side, the Tattershall Castle. She was a car ferry on the River Humber in Hull. And today moored as a floating pub. It's nice on there if you come back this way later on. Gothic building on the left hand side, Whitehall Court. That is home to the 5-star Royal Horse Guard Hotel and part of the Liberal Club. The first bridge is called Charing Cross. Either side of the bridge there's a footbridge. These are the Golden Jubilee walkways. They were built to celebrate the Queen's 50th year on the throne back in 2002. The modern building on our left with the curved roof, that's Embankment Place. That covers the platforms of Charing Cross Station. Designed by a man called Terry Farrell to look like a train leaving a railway tunnel. Look at it very closely and you can see that it does look nothing like a train coming from anywhere. It looks more like an American jukebox. You know the old Wurlitzer jukebox, I think. Now on the way down the river we do have to pick up a few people, okay? So these are very quick stops. We just pull in, pick the people up and then we continue. Now we're turning the boat and the reason we turn round is the tide is coming down the river. So we turn the boat head into tide. The wind is blowing up the river, which is blowing the head of the boat round as we turn. I'm blowing my coat in here as well. So we use the wind and the tide to navigate here on the River Thames. The tide, it goes out for 7 hours here in London. It comes back into London for 5 hours. And there's a rise and fall of tide in London between 5 and 8 metres every day. So we do have a big rise and fall of tide here. Now us captains here in London, we are Thames watermen and we serve an apprenticeship of 5 years to gain a licence. Now the needle was given to us by an Egyptian government in thanks over defeating Napoleon and the French fleet at the Battle of the River Nile. Those needles are made in pairs. And the twin column in Central Park in New York City in America. Now we've got a bit of a mistake with the one here in London. If you look at the bottom of the needle, can you see the statues at the bottom, the sphinxes? They are facing the wrong way. They should be looking away from the needle and guarding it. They are looking at it and they are admiring it. The mistake, it wasn't noticed until the concrete had dried, and they were told to leave it and hope nobody would notice what they'd done wrong. They say really, if you see them anywhere else, they always look away and guard an object. As we start turning around, there's a building on the right. It's got a green roof with a flag in the centre. That is the world famous Savoy Hotel. Very, very nice and very, very expensive. To stay in the Savoy for one night, a riverside suite, £1,300 per night. If you go to the bar in the Savoy Hotel, a gin and tonic is £35. But it does come in a crystal glass. And you can take that glass home with you. You don't tell them you're going to take it home, but you do. So a nice souvenir from the Savoy. Now on the left hand side, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a building with a large clock on the front of it. That is Shell Petroleum in the Strand. Shell Petroleum, the biggest clock on a building here in London. The biggest one in the country is in Liverpool. Now in front of us we have Waterloo Bridge. This is better known in London as the Ladies' Bridge. It was built by the ladies of London during the Second World War. Whilst the men were at war fighting, the girls at home done lots of the construction, and the bridge here was one of them. And I'm sure we can agree, gentlemen, the ladies of London, they made an excellent job. So well done the girls, well done. Give them a clap, gentlemen, well done the girls. If you want something done properly, leave it to the girls. That is true, gentlemen, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's right. We just nod and agree, don't we? That's right. I've learned, don't worry. I'm well taught, don't worry about that. Through the bridge, we go to the left, and one of the nicest buildings on the river, Somerset House. Built over 200 years ago for the Dukes and the Earls of Somerset. For many years, the building stored a birth, death and marriage certificate. Taken over by the Coulthard Art Gallery and King's College, a lovely building. On the right of the boat, the building with the advertisement, our National Theatre. Inside the building are 3 separate halls. The main one is the Olivier, named after Laurence Olivier, the founder of that building. That building is voted every single year to be the ugliest building on the River Thames. And I'm sure we can agree and say it is a very ugly building. It looks more like a car park from the outside. In front of the boat, we've got a white ship. It's got a yellow funnel. This is the Wellington. It used to be part of the New Zealand Navy. Today the ship is a floating livery hall. It's a drinking club for retired sea captains. You must have been the captain of a ship at sea for more than 25 years to be a member of their drinking club on our left. The stone arch in the river wall on the left, that is Temple Arch or Temple Bar. And that is the official boundary between the City of London and the City of Westminster. In front of the boat, on the left-hand side, the 1 square mile, the City of London. Then to our right-hand side, we've got a red brick building. It's got a glass roof and a tower. That is Stamford Wharf. It used to be a cold storage meat warehouse. It's been converted into riverside apartments. The glass roof is a restaurant, the Oxo Tower, said to be one of the top 10 restaurants in London. Look at the windows up in the tower, they spell Oxo. Where they made the gravy, the famous stock cube, made in the building over there on the right. On the left-hand side of the boat, we've got a red brick building. It looks a bit like a church. Zion College and Library, a school, and a study for the clergyman in London. The building next door, it's got a green sloping roof, the old City of London School. Past members of Parliament and current top MPs, they went to school there before going to Oxford or Cambridge University. The semicircular building, Unilever House, famous soap and detergent manufacturers. Blackfriars, ladies and gentlemen, this is a road bridge. Then we have the Blackfriars Railway Bridge. In between the two bridges there's red columns. These columns carried the first railway over the river, the Chatham and Dover Steam Railway line. They took away the top of the bridge, it became unsafe. They could not remove the columns, the other bridges would fall down. It would undermine the foundations of the bridges on either side. Going through the bridge, we look to our left, we have the dome and the golden cross, St. Paul's Cathedral, the masterpiece of Sir Christopher Wren. It took 35 years to build it, completed in 1710. Look above the dome on St. Paul's, there's a public viewing gallery, from which you obtain a fine view over London. Buried inside St. Paul's, we have the tombs of Lord Nelson, the Duke of Wellington, and the architect Sir Christopher Wren. They're all buried in St. Paul's on our left. Have we got people there? Right, folks, sorry about this. We've got to stop here apparently. So just give us a second. We'll spin round and make another stop. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the bridge is the Millennium Bridge, or better known as the Wibbly Wobbly Bridge. The bridge was opened on a Saturday morning by the Queen. It was closed the same afternoon by the police. It was unsafe. So many people walked over the bridge at once, it started to move. People were falling over as they went across. So they had to shut the bridge down and re-strengthen it, renaming it the Wibbly Wobbly Bridge over the Thames. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we start turning, look in front of the boat, we've got a round white building. It's got the timber frame and the thatched roof, the replica of William Shakespeare's Globe. The only building to have a timber frame and thatched roof since the Great Fire of London. Watch a Shakespearean play in the building. Plays are performed in a traditional way. There's no microphone or stage lighting. It's all done as it used to be done during the time of William Shakespeare. So they have a play here in the afternoon, one will start very shortly. Then they have an evening play. And so they go on all the way through to the end of October. The only thing you've got to watch here is the weather. So obviously if you go there and it rains, you're going to get wet. There's no umbrellas, there's no roof. So you will sit there in the rain, okay? But as they say, the show must go on. And so they do perform in all weathers. You can buy a ticket to watch, but sometimes it's pretty hard to book on that system. So what I recommend you do is just turn up, and if they've got spaces, they will let you in. So worth the effort, just go along there and see if you can go and take the view in from the top. As we turn the boat, if you look just ahead of us here, we've got a building, it's got 4 columns outside. This is Vintners Place. It belongs to the Vintners Company. They're the old wine merchants of London. Any imported alcohol that comes into the country, before it goes onto the market, it has to be tasted. And these people have got a terrible job. They have to sit in there drinking all day. I am told they do voluntary overtime in this building. A nice job to have, eh? Save you going down the pub after work. As we go through Southwark Bridge, look ahead of us on the right, you'll see a nice pub, the Anchor Tavern, Bankside. The pub is over 300 years old, mentioned in the diary of Dr. Johnson and Samuel Pepys. A nice old London pub, the Anchor Tavern. Now, we said about the tide earlier on, and to give you an idea on how fast the tide is, look at the columns at water level on your side. Doesn't matter what side you look on. And you can see how fast the water is moving along. Years ago, before we had engines to power boats, the old watermen and lightermen, they rowed the barges with cargo using the tide. So they used the tide and the wind to navigate on the river years ago. In amongst the buildings on the right, you can see the replica of Sir Francis Drake's ship, the Golden Hind. Drake was the first Englishman to sail around the world. He did so on a ship identical to that. Drake was not an explorer, he was a licensed pirate, a privateer. And he was given permission to loot and rob as many ships as he could. He done so on a ship like that. This is London Bridge. Now, if you got your camera, the name of the bridge is carved into the stonework. Now, if you look on the left and right here, you can take your picture. This is the 5th London Bridge in 2,000 years. When the Romans came here, they built a wooden bridge. They called it Londinium. There was a medieval bridge for over 500 years. It had a church, shops and houses. The London Bridge before this one, it was sinking, and it was sold to an American businessman. The old London Bridge today is in America, rebuilt in Arizona, Lake Havasu in the Arizona desert. Look up to the right, we've got the tallest building in Western Europe, the Shard. The Shard stands over 1,000 feet tall. On the 72nd floor of that building, there's a viewing platform. The middle of the building is a hotel, the Shangri-La. Now, the building designed by an Italian architect, Renzo Piano. He was never paid for the design of the building. He was given the penthouse suite at the very top. He lived in that for 1 year and he sold it for £50 million. Not bad for drawing a big triangle. I thought that was a pretty good idea. On the right we got the warship HMS Belfast. She was built 1938 in the Harland and Wolff shipyard in Belfast. She saw action in the Second World War. She was the flagship for the United Nations in the Korean War. Today the ship is a museum to former naval seamen. Give them a wave on there, look. Smile, that's it. And so you can visit the ship and you can explore all 9 decks. From an engine room you go right up on the captain's bridge. Ahead of the boat on the left hand side now we have the Tower of London. The oldest part in the centre with the 4 roofs and the flag. The Norman Keep or White Tower, built in the reign of William the Conqueror in 1078. Building has served London as a imprisonment, torture and execution. Look on the river wall, entry to Traitors' Gates. If you were found guilty of treason, you were taken through the Traitors' Gate and you were imprisoned or executed at the Tower of London. In front of the boat we have Tower Bridge, the gateway to London. Tower Bridge was opened in 1894. The centre roadway of this bridge, it does open up like a double-sided drawbridge to allow big ships into this part of the river. When the River Thames was very busy with shipping, Tower Bridge opened around 30 times every day. It opens now maybe 15 or 20 times every week. It's been pretty busy actually the last few days, so they have been opening up the bridge quite a lot over the last few days. One of the best times to see the bridge, in my opinion, is when they light the bridge up. Try and see the bridge at night time when it's all lit up. It is a beautiful sight here in London. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be turning the boat and making our stop here at Tower Bridge. Benito, Rose, Chris, can you come down with both sides? Is that right?
All right.
Make a nice picture.
Okay.
Now, folks, listen carefully, folks. When you